Second story is about somebody who's pretty controversial and hasn't really been in the mainstream media light for a while. His name is David Icke. Icke, I don't know how you say it. David Icke. Do you guys know who he is? I'll look in the comments, see if you've heard of him. He is what they would call a conspiracy theorist. He goes around and does speaking tours. He writes books, I think. I've never read one. And I know him from YouTube. He's highly interesting. He's known for his theory of saying that there's reptiles among us humans, like there's a reptilian race, and this is a conspiracy that not only he's like, one of the main people in it, but there's other people who believe that. To keep it real with you, I'm not on board with that per se. I don't quite think there's reptilians here. Although I would say my mind is open, it's like anything could truly be happening, but I don't agree with him. But if you really listen to David Icke, he makes a lot of sense. I mean, you could take that, and some people believe that, most people don't. But give him a chance, because he actually has a lot of wisdom and knowledge about worldly events and other stuff. And he got banned recently from Australia. That's why I'm talking about him. He was supposed to do a speaking tour there. I guess he got his speaking visa a while ago, and he's I guess he flew out to Los Angeles, and he was going to fly to Australia, and they canceled his visa and said he was banned from the country like a couple hours before he was flying. So after he got all the hotels, after he did the speaking tour, it was highly political, and they said, he's dangerous. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure the reason that they gave, although I'm sure it was taken out of context. But here's the thing that I'm going to say about him and others, and hopefully you take it with a grain of salt, and maybe not. It's up to you, but listen to people. Like, when the media hates on somebody, there's usually a reason. Like, I'll tell you right now. The media hates Donald Trump. The media absolutely hates Donald Trump. The reason the media hates Donald Trump is because he wasn't a Republican, he wasn't a Democrat, he wasn't a chosen puppet. He's not owned and controlled. I mean, he might make mistakes or do things I wouldn't do sometimes, but overall, he does what he wants to do, and that's a threat. He's ending the wars. They don't like that. He's trying to secure the border, which they don't want. He's pretty much doing a lot of stuff that they never really wanted done. They just pretended like they wanted done for a while to get votes and act like they're doing something. So now that somebody's actually there doing stuff, they're not so happy. They're like, whoa, we just talked about it. We didn't want you to actually do it. Same with the LGBT stuff. They're like, no, we just pandered to the LGBT community. We didn't want you to actually cut out all the gay. Anyway, that's why they hate Trump. They don't like Tulsi Gabbard, and they don't like Howard Schultz. The reason they don't like Tulsi Gabbard is because she is very strong in foreign policy. She's anti-regime change war. She tried to pass the Stop Arming Terrorists Acts with Rand Paul. So regardless of what you think about her Democrat politics, Tulsi Gabbard is fierce with anti-regime change. She doesn't believe in regime change wars, similar to Trump in some ways. In other ways, Tulsi's more extreme. But that's why they don't like her. They'll say it's because of the KKK or this or that, which has nothing to do with her. It's just because somebody who used to be in the KKK said that they supported Tulsi Gabbard for an extent. It doesn't mean she has any affiliation with someone else. It just means that somebody liked her, so they try to tie her to the most extreme thing to make her look bad. That has nothing to do. So the point I'm going to keep going. Listen to people. Don't listen to what the media says about them, and don't listen even to what other analysts say about them. Like, I'm telling you to go listen to them, because what I say doesn't really matter. It just does to a lot of people, because you might find that my portrayal of it is one of the most fair and accurate ones. But when the media hates on somebody, it's not because they're bad. It's usually because they're good. I'll give you another example. Howard Schultz. They claim that, they're very pro-Jewish in many ways, but Howard Schultz is somebody who's Jewish like Roseanne. They're different, but it's like he's not with the business when it comes to the Democratic Party and the liberal media or the Democrats, so they don't like him. They only pretend to like certain groups, races, religions until you don't agree with them, and then they're very vicious. So Howard Schultz says that the Democratic Party's gone too far left and that free healthcare and free education doesn't make sense economically. That's why they don't like him, because he won't run as a Democrat. They're going to tell you it's because he's an old white man. They're going to tell you it's because he owns Starbucks and he's out of touch and he doesn't know how much a Cheerio box is. That's not why they don't like him. So same with, I could go into numerous people, but when it comes to David Icke, the reason they don't like him is not because he thinks there's reptiles or he has extreme views on other things. The reason they don't like David Icke is because he's on point about a lot of stuff. I mean, he's good. He has a lot of interesting foreign policy stuff, although I will say I don't agree with everything he says. I find that he's wiser than the media, and he has a lot of interesting things. When it comes to his ideology about humanity, David Icke, I've heard his speeches, he thinks that we're being inverted. Like, he thinks a literal species is inverting us so that good is evil, evil is good, right is wrong, wrong is right. I don't agree with that part of it. I don't believe it's another species. However, I do think that the overarching theme of what he's saying is pretty spot on. I do think they are, like, I mean, if you look at the media, I don't think it's reptilians, but I would say that they are making good evil, evil good, left is right, right is left, up is down, fascist is this is that. Like, they're lying about almost everything. They're inverting the natural order of food and medicine and health and wellness. Like, everything is pretty inverted. Healthcare means killing babies when they're like about to be born. Like, yeah, I would say he's pretty spot on with that, albeit maybe his angle is not mine. He's not as bad as they say. And he has a very valid point. I was listening to him, and I guess, he's critical of Israel, and he, says stuff about that. They said he said all this stuff. I'm not sure that he did. But they basically are saying this and that. Like, they always say Nazi, anti-Semitic. But the irony of it is David Icke is very anti-Nazi, absolutely. And he's basically saying what the Nazis did is they stopped people from being able to speak freely. So people that oppose their regime, they wouldn't be allowed to publicly speak like they wanted them to speak. If you wouldn't do that, they'd close down your public sessions. They'd burn your books. They'd silence you. They'd, make it impossible. That's what Australia did to him. That's what America's starting to do. That's what Europe is starting to do. That's what Canada's starting to do. They're starting to essentially digitally burn books and stop people from speaking. That's what an evil regime does. If David Icke's lying, or if David Icke's not on point, just debate him. Discuss it. You do your own speaking tour. I don't believe in censorship, especially, my thing is, when I listen to him, although I do disagree with certain things that he says about, quite a few topics, but when I listen to him speak, he's very calm. So nobody's leaving his speeches feeling angry or mad. Like, he's super calm, super relaxed, super reasonable, super well-researched. So it's like, if I disagree with him, it's not a big deal. But what is a big deal is banning somebody from a country because you think he likes reptiles, or maybe you think he's hateful or something, even though I wouldn't say that he is. So, I mean, we're treading on very, very dangerous waters in America, in Australia, in Europe, where some of the people who are getting censored are not the craziest people. I did a stream today with Brandon Straka, and I explained Laura Loomer. She's a conservative Jewish woman, should fit into some victim cards according to the left and the right, but for some reason, she's getting book burned too. And the reason that Twitter banned Laura Loomer doesn't make sense. She made a comment about Ilhan Omar. So she said Ilhan Omar doesn't like Jewish people. She said Ilhan Omar shouldn't be the cover of like women, because in countries where her ideology is prevalent that women don't get treated well, she was pretty much right. I mean, the doesn't like Jewish people, that's opinion based, but I would guess that Ilhan Omar probably doesn't like Jewish people, just like a lot of Jewish people and Christians are not the biggest fan of Muslims. Anyway, she got banned. So it's not like the most crazy, extreme, terrible, nasty, hurtful, racist, sexist, xenophobic, awful people are getting banned. It's like the most reasonable people, or the most rational sometimes, where it's like Laura Loomer, Jewish, banned. David Icke criticizing Jewish people or talking about reptiles or whatever, banned. They're not saying the crazy, like, there's crazier people. And that's usually the way it works. That's why you don't want to give up free speech, because they'll use conspiracy theory or racist or sexist or xenophobic or anti-Semitic or anti-Islamic or Islamophobic, whatever the word is, or bigoted, or I'm running out of like whatever they say. I don't really pay attention anymore. But it's like they use those and they never shut down the most extreme people. Usually they shut down the most intelligent people. They shut down the most outspoken people. They shut down the narrative matrix breakers who, will dare question norms, or at least, make a compelling argument that's interesting, intriguing, and not normal. And that's who they shut down first. And they're doing it on Twitter and everywhere. And to see him get banned from Australia, and especially, to be honest, I haven't been listening to him a lot recently. But now that they did that, I went and listened to his latest stream just to see where he's at. Because he's not my favorite, but I listen to a lot of people. And a lot of people always say, Anomaly, they'll be like, where do you research? Where do you listen? I don't really read the news that much. I mean, I check out the headlines. I'll check out the articles. I definitely see it. But I listen a lot. Like, I listen to a lot of people. I listen to, left, right, conspiracy theorists. I listen to Muslim, Christian, Jewish. Like, I'm trying to listen to everybody. And it's easy to figure out the truth when you give people a chance. When you shut them off and you just say, racist, sexist, it's so bad, I don't want to hear it. I take the elements of truth from everybody and I leave behind their agenda or what I don't agree with. But it's like, that's how I know so much. And some of it's like hard to say. But a lot of the craziest people are my favorite people. And a lot of the craziest people who they say are the meanest, when you listen to them, they're the most calm, they're the most reasonable. Usually they're pro-health, like they're always giving health benefits, where you listen to like progressives, no offense, I'm going to talk about conservatives too, don't get mad. When I listen to progressives, they want to take over the whole health industry, but I don't know a single progressive who actually talks about health, like literally tries to benefit their people like I do. I'll talk about water, purifiers, I'll talk about this, I'll talk about self-accountability and self-awareness and like things that really benefit your mental and physical health. I talk about it all the time because it's not about the government all the time. It's like, what can we do? The people who want to give the entire health industry to the federal government don't ever actually give health tips, or they don't, because they don't really think that way. They don't think self-accountability and ground level. They think everything's bad, so let's give it all to the government and they're going to solve our problems. It's very dangerous, and I can't help but notice that. Same with on the right. A lot of these stereotypical people on the right, they say things I might agree with sometimes, but it's all like fiery, like rah, 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 and they're screaming all the time. It's like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and it's like, stop. Like, it's not fun. And like, honestly, half the time I'm like, you're not even right about that, but whatever. It's not that helpful. And then I listen to these crazy extremists that are like, they're far right, they're far left, they're Muslim extremists, they're radical Christians, they're, conspiracy theorists. And I listen to them and they're calm and they're wise. I don't always agree with them, but I find it interesting. And like the mean things I find hilarious. Like, I did a debate with Nuance Bro, and he's like, doesn't it bother you that Louis Farrakhan said that white people were born in a lab with Yakub or something? And I was like, no, I think that's hilarious. Like, I don't think so, but like, does that offend me? No, not at all. Not even slightly. Like, I actually find it quite hilarious. Does it offend me that David Icke thinks people are reptiles? Like, not really, no. I find it interesting, and like, I don't know. I'm just not that easily offended by like stuff like that, but I'll listen to not just them, like people from all sides, and it's like, they'll be giving out health tips, and like, they'll be like, do this, do that, and I'm like, oh, these people, like, they genuinely sound like they actually care about people and their people, and it's like, I can respect that, even if I don't agree with them. So it's like, when I listen to other people, right wing and left wing, like the cool kids, like, oh, normally you're never going to be on this because you're not cool enough or whatever. It's like, maybe I don't want to be, because I listen to mainstream media on the left and the right, and all the people who are like trendy and, popular. And it's like, I don't really gain that much out of it. I hear a lot of things I already know, a lot of anger, a lot of fear, a lot of division, a lot of like hostility, not a lot of wisdom, no health tips whatsoever. Like, so I even on Twitter, I like Mike Cernovich, who promoted me a lot when nobody did, by the way. But like, a lot of people don't like Cernovich because Cernovich is conservative, but he goes at Trump a lot. Like, he'll be like, oh, MAGA, you guys are dumb, and he'll like, he can be a little hostile towards Trump and conservatives. But I don't always agree with his analysis. Like, sometimes I vehemently disagree with what he's saying about MAGA and Trump. However, he's always talking about health. He's always talking about wellness. He's always questioning the narrative. He's always bringing up interesting stuff and sharing news articles that no one else shares. To me, that's more appealing than the guy who just says the same 5 things I already know. Like, it's cool, and there's a place for everybody, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, I that's who I'm interested in. And everybody, it's not for everyone. Like, some people I like, people are like, anomaly, I hate that person. Whether it's Alex Jones or Cernovich or something, you can, and you know, they know they're controversial, so they don't mind it. I've talked to Mike, and I've watched Alex enough to know that I don't think he really cares what people think, but that's just what I'm into. And I think, at bare minimum, I'll wrap it up with this. I don't think these people should be censored or silenced or banned from countries or not allowed to speak or deplatformed, because I'm warning everybody that it's not like you'll cheer when it's the other person. If you're Jewish or Christian, you might cheer when it's the Muslim who gets deplatformed. You know, if you're, you know, Republican, you'll cheer when it's the liberal who gets deplatformed. If you're a normie who just watches mainstream media and David Icke gets banned or Alex Jones gets banned, you might cheer because you know he's so crazy. But like, they'll come for you too. It's like they'll use everyone, like, oh, the conspiracy theorist, the crazy conservative Jew who likes Trump. You know, it's like the crazy far right guy who's Christian, the Muslim. This guy's so racist. But it's like, do you notice the pattern? They're coming for everybody. Like, it's not a thing. It's a self-defeating ideology. And people like, I mean, I can't speak for him, but David Icke, and the point, because I was trying to listen to what he was saying about the Australia travel, but he was like, I'm very anti-Nazi. Like, he criticizes Israel quite often, but he's like, I'm like anti-Nazi. He's like, but what you guys are doing is like acting like that by banning everybody, but also if you do the wrong thing, bad things will happen to you. Like, the reason I probe at the black community and I say these statistics that are very unpopular is because I care about black people, and I legitimately, not just like, oh, look at my friend, or like, oh, I'll give the award to you. Like, that's what liberals do. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. They just pretend to like you for the photo op. I actually care about black people in America. Like, I care about all people, my brothers and sisters of all races, religions, genders. But I tell you this stuff because I think if you don't follow the right path, it's going to negatively affect you. And same with the Jewish community and the Christian community and the Muslim community. It's like, if you don't self-reflect, you might hate everybody else and blame everybody else all the time, and conservatives too. They're like, oh, it's all the cheating and the rigging and the voting. Like, some of it is, but a lot of it's bad planning. You don't have big email lists like Bernie Sanders. You don't have a cheat sheet where they give to the kids to go vote. Like, you don't have the youth. Like, there are elements where you're dropping the ball, and no one wants to hear that. So it's like, if we all don't, in our own communities and in our own countries, if we don't watch our step, we may manifest really bad stuff happening to us. And I'm, ringing the alarm in America, because we've messed up enough, in my opinion, not just with foreign policy, treating others, and also how we treat each other, and border security and basic rule of law and stuff. If we don't correct ourselves, it's not going to be good, and then we're going to cry and scream and be like, oh, they did this. Well, did they? I mean, they might have done that, but did we allow them to do that? Did we manifest that by leaving open our borders and bringing in anybody and allowing people to take over our institutions and control everything? Then is it really their fault? That's why I'm not hateful. It's like, it's our own fault. I'm not blaming anybody, because it's like, if anything happens from south, north, east, west, we let it happen. We have the biggest military, one of the strongest countries. We let it happen. And that goes for every community. And, David Icke getting banned from Australia, Alex Jones being deplatformed, people losing PayPal, MasterCard of all kinds, just shows me that we're in a very sensitive time. And I stand up for anybody. That's why I talked about David today, even though a lot of conservatives won't, probably most liberals won't. A lot of people don't even know who he is, but I take deplatforming seriously, and, all for one for all. We got to stand up for each other, because you think it's not you, and it's going to be you. So I try to make a video for everybody that gets deplatformed or banned or censored, and I guess it's David Icke's turn, even though he's been touring for decades and no one seemed to have a problem with it. And his reach he's doing well, but it's not like he's that. It backfires in that way too. Because, like, now I did a video. I never probably would have mentioned David Icke. Like, I wouldn't have thought about it. But now I watched this video again just to see where he's at. Now I mentioned him. It actually backfires when you censor. And me and Brandon talked about it on our Make America Debate Again live stream too. when you censor the far right or the far left or whatever, and you bury them, you're not getting rid of them. You're just pretending like you're doing it on social media. You're actually emboldening them. Like when Alex Jones says the government's corrupt and it's the globalists and they're trying to shut me down, and then you shut them down, you make them look like a genius, and you make them look right, and you make them more popular, and you make them look like a hero. So it's like, if you don't like Alex Jones, deplatforming him, probably not the best strategy. If you don't like David Icke and you don't want his message to be heard, probably not the best strategy to ban his talks, because it might multiply. So it's like from every angle, it just is so bad. For freedom, for equality, for stopping them if you are that person trying, like, it's just such a dumb strategy. And I already said I'm tired of it. I don't want to keep saying that, but I'm making my stand here with a lot of stuff. So God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America, and God bless the world. Hope you guys have a great week. If you don't do anything, check out my Make America Debate Again podcast. It's on Google Play, Apple, whatever. Sign up to my free email list. It's 100% free. Just click on it. It takes like 5 to 10 seconds. It's so fast. You sign up. Then I have your email. I don't spam. I don't sell things yet. I'm working on a store. I want to sell health and wellness products that you can actually use that'll help your body. And like I might sell t-shirts too, but like I will eventually do stuff, but I still won't message you every day or something. It'll probably be like once a month or every 2 months. But I do want to start distributing good products. Like I try to distribute good message and good energy via the interwebs. So I'm working on that. We'll see if it happens. It's going to take a while. Yeah, subscribe to YouTube. Thank you for everyone supporting here. Thank you to everyone supporting on Patreon and DonorBox. I appreciate that, especially before I got ads on Facebook and YouTube. Still, it's vital because I have to pay taxes on everything, but it was what kept me afloat for a year. So without people supporting on Patreon or DonorBox, I literally wouldn't have been able to be here then, now. Thank you guys so much, and thank you to everybody. Don't email me, just to repeat myself when I say that stuff, which I don't too often, although I do pin it a lot, because people are like, oh, no, you're always posting. It's like, yeah, it's basic marketing. Like, I always post my email list. I always post my YouTube. I always post my links, so people see it. Everyone doesn't watch any video. Anyway, sometimes people will say, normally, I didn't get paid this month or this or that. It's not that serious. I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I'm good. Buy yourself a meal. Go on a vacation. Like, if it's at that point, you don't have to message me and say you can't do it. It's a suggestion. It's not a demand by any means. I appreciate your likes, your comments, your shares, your kind messages when people do reach out, and also just your presence in general is very valuable. So thank you for that. Have a good day. Have a good week. I'll be back probably tomorrow. Maybe I'll take a break though.